Hello and welcome to this new episode of On You Grow. The case is out. That means business. I like my seeds to be organized properly. I used to have them in an old box. They were all mixed up, so it was quite difficult. Then I went from that to having a box for my flower seeds and a box for the vegetables or the edible seeds. But it was just still too messy to find out what was in there. I continuously had to make like spreadsheets to sort out the seeds that I had, to make sure continuously just having to update this. I wasn't really doing it. So I decided to invest in a case. I went for this case, which is like a photo case. Let me show you. So, to give you an idea, I'm actually just going to move the thermometer for an instant. So, it's very well secured, and inside I keep my logbook and my pen. So I've got everything together, and in there you've got some small pockets, small boxes, which I have labeled. Every single one of them is labeled. So here, for example, is the allium, and in each of them, they just close as well with just a wee secure system. It's quite well presented, and inside I can keep my seeds, which keeps them fairly airtight. Obviously, I had to push this the extra step and put them in the alphabetic order from A to W. It's not necessary, but that's the way I do it. I've actually discovered not that long ago that on Eli Kate's channel that they are actually using the same system of box, but which I find absolutely genius, and I will definitely get there at some point. I'm just holding off just now, but they're actually using one for the different seeds. And they've got another one which is for each and every month. So when they're preparing the crop plan, they pick out the seeds for each month and place them in the right months. And obviously once the seeds have been used, if there's another sowing for the following month, for example, or a couple of months later, then it's moved in that one. And if not, it's put back in the one with their name. So at the end of the season, pretty much all the seeds should be back in the one with the different varieties. It's genius. It really helps to keep things tidy. It's quite handy as well. If I have to take this to the allotment, it's just quite a handy wee case. It does quite a weight, but I mean there's a lot of seeds in there as well. But it's easy. It's easy to store away as well. I just love it. Absolutely love it. So if this is out, that means that we've got some sowing to do. So if we have some sowing to do today, I've actually made a wee cheat sheet, so I'm just having a look. I'll show you how I would do it normally. So first thing first, I would put my logbook at the side. I would normally put it up there, but I've put the mats on, so I'll put it there behind. There we go. And the way I would do it is look through, so I know that I will have to sow some rockets, so that's going to be in my greens. I've just conveniently placed it right at the top, obviously, but we've got the rocket seeds, and I can put them at the side, and I know that it's the only green that I will be doing, so all good. The next one that we will be doing today is parsley. So I get my herbs out and I look for parsley, mustard, 2. Simple as done. As simple as done. And it does hold. I mean, this one is slightly popping open. Doesn't close properly, but I've got an awful lot of seeds in there. I don't even know how many packets I've got, but as you can see, there's are actually falling apart. There's a lot of seeds in there. So it works quite well. So the next thing that I would normally do is write the plant tags. The reason I do it right away and not as I go along is simply because sometimes you get carried away and I could easily forget to do the plant tag, but it's not something you want to forget. So for the plant tags, I use plastic. I know, very bad of myself, but in fairness, I've tried to use the wooden one, but I just don't like. I find that it's, obviously I'm in a place where it's very, very humid, and they go all moldy, and you know, they get, I don't like them. In terms of writing on them, I don't use pencil. I don't know why it doesn't seem to work very well for me. I know most people would just praise the pencil, that works a lot better, but it doesn't work for me. So for years I've been using Sharpies. The one thing that I found was the Sharpies is they are not UV resistant or fade resistant. So they mark very well. It stays on, no problem, indoor, outdoor, throughout the season, but they tend to fade away. It's not quite, a very, very rare occasion I've not been able to read the label at the end of the seasons, but it's extremely rare. So it's not faded to the point that I can't even know what I've sown or planted there, but it's still annoying. So I've been looking a bit online, and I found a few tests of these outline, it doesn't really do the focus, it's annoying, outline garden markers, which claims to be for marking on plant labels, which is water and fade resistant. It's my first time using it, so we'll see what it's like. I know a lot of people have been complaining about the size of the tip. I'm quite happy with that. Obviously, if you come from a pencil, it's probably a bit bigger. It's still a lot thinner than the Sharpie, so it will give me a nice writing. And in fact, I've already made one just to give you a rough idea of my terrible writing, but how thin it writes on there. So, you know, it should work a lot better. But anyway, so the first one, Goji berry, is done. But what I would normally do is grab my plant tag, grab my packet of seed, and then just write on it right away what it is. I'll actually take a few just now. I've got the so as it is still quite early in the season, all of them except the Agastache will be going on the heat mat right up here. As you can see, they are curling up a bit, but once I'll get things on top, they will go nicely, and they're just warming up as well. So obviously, as they get warm, they will just get a bit softer and will take the proper shape. I will be using a mix of potting compost and spent compost, which I've got down there, just to give a bit more volume to this. Technically, I should be really just using seed compost, and I will be just using seed compost for the Goji and sweet pepper. But everything else, I'll be using a bit of a mix. It's just because the seed compost is so expensive, and it's actually the last bag I've got here, so I need to be a bit cautious how I'm using it. I need to reorder some perlite and vermiculite, and this alone will just not far off double the volume of my potting mix when I use that in my compost. So if I had that, obviously I would probably not need to put much, if at all, of the spent compost. So I will just get the seed compost in here just now, and then put up the goji berry and the sweet pepper straight in the seed sowing medium, and then I'll do my mix and get the other one done just in one go. Right, so let's just crack on with the goji berry first. So the next one will be the pepper. So for the pepper, I will only, oh, you might be able to see, I only have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seeds in there. So obviously I've got 24 modules in here. I won't be using them all, so I'll just sow the first 2. And what I tend to do, so rather than putting one on each one of them, if you want to be safe, you could put one on each, but I would put it here. That means that I know that those first 2 are something. If I put another one in here, I know that those 2 are something. And if I put another 2, I would put it there. So I know that those 2 are something different. So there's no really any confusion like that. So in this case, we will be sowing just a single seed per cell. If you struggle a bit with the fine motricity, or if it's really, really cold, rather than trying to pinch, obviously those ones are not too bad, but as you can see, the Goji can be really difficult, and potentially you would want to sow them like maybe 1 or 2 per tray rather than scattering them about. One thing that you can use is either the back of a paintbrush or a pencil. Just give it a wee lick and then you can pick them up quite easily like that. So give it a wee lick and as you can see, it just picks up the seeds straight away. Just the one. Just like that. So that's a wee tip. For the rest of the sowing, I will be using a mix of potting compost and some of my spent compost here. So it's rough and ready. There's quite a few bits of wood in there. It's just general compost. I need it a bit finer, so I will just pass it through this sieve over here. This is a rough one, so as you can see there's still quite a lot of woody bits, but most of it will be okay. Okay, now that we have our mix done, all the bigger bits, I've basically put them, remember from that greenhouse tidying video I was showing you the bin. So I put them in there because this is going to go in the compost anyway, so it's not so much bits of stones, so it's mostly woody bits, and they'll be absolutely fine and decomposing in the compost. So I put them in there and this will go back in the compost. Right, so since I'm not going to be sowing for about two weeks, I shouldn't be sowing anything for the next 2 weeks, so I still had a bit of medium here. So what I've done is just brush it in one of those pots because it's already mixed up. It's not just the spent compost in here, it's some decent compost, so I don't want to get this going to waste, so I'll just put it there just now and I can use that when I'm doing my next mix. The next thing that I have done as well is write down in my sowing log all the, my fingers are frozen. Fingers are frozen. All the things that I've been sowing today. So these ones are the ones from last time, and then all the one from the first sowing of the year. Yeah. So this is done. All the seeds, the packets that are finished, obviously will be going in the bin. All the ones that still had some seeds in, put back in there. Space, back in there. And ready to go. This was quite a productive morning anyway. I managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different varieties started. especially the sweet pepper. Oh, I cannot wait. Next week, hopefully, we'll get some work done at the allotment. I've not been able to go this week because my van is in for repair. So hoping to get it back soon and being able to get back to the allotment next week. Thank you very much for joining today. As always, it's been a real pleasure for me. If you like that video, give a wee thumbs up, really help the channel. And if you are not a subscriber yet, I would really appreciate that you consider subscribing. What I would like as well is for you to tell me in comment if you have started sowing anything, and if so, what have you started sowing? Because I'd be really interested to know. I know that this is not, there's a lot more that can be sown in January, but that would be really interesting to know what you have sown yourself at this time and see the progress. If you've sown something earlier this month or last month, if you've got any progress on this and anything popping up. The excitement is finally coming that spring will be there at some point. So let me know in the comment anyway if you've got anything that is already started or if you are starting some sowing this month. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.